Hello, hi, welcome to another episode of Success and Hurdles. As we said, we'll be discussing body shaming with people who have gone through this. So today we have Sukanya. Sukanya is an international commercial and corporate lawyer. She is an UN academic awardee for her research, and she was covered in Forbes India and Supreme Court cases online for the same. She also owns an ethnic wear and Indo-Western clothing brand called Mirami. Today also she is wearing the same. Hi Sukanya, so we welcome you on Success and Hurdles.
Hi.
We would really like to know first of all that how your journey started with your everything like lawyer. Other than that, you told us that you have also been into social things and
Yeah.
also right now you are doing this business.
Yeah.
So how does it actually started?
So honestly speaking, I've always been like a very curious child. Like, I want to try everything out. जो भी मन कर रहा है, कर लो. Passion आ रहा है, कर लो. But I did not always want to become a lawyer. It came very naturally. Like after a point, I actually was studying psychology at one point. I dropped out and I did not know what to do.
Okay.
And
So she's also like the other people who do it in a very frequent way जो हम बहुत लोग करते हैं change करते हैं. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I did not know कि वो psychology छोड़ने के बाद करना क्या है. So I actually sat down with myself. I tried to understand what are the things that I like, what are my traits, and then I just felt that शायद law में मतलब my personality will suit well because I'm a very extroverted person. I like meeting people. I like झगड़ा करना भी पसंद था बचपन से ही. Parents are always like कि हाँ ये तो बड़े होके शायद वकील बनेंगे. So it's that sort of a thing. So once I was in law school, I was again very experimentative with things. I had a startup even when I was in law school. I was going for every competition. I just wanted to try new things. I had a startup even back then. And then once I graduated, that's when I realized that my interest really lies in business. So that is also the reason why I became a commercial lawyer. So once I graduated, I was like, okay, how about I maybe experiment a few things here and there? And that's how, like, my co-founder is basically my best friend from school. We used to be benchmates.
Oh,
So
nice.
she's my best friend since ninth grade. And we just decided, like, क्यों ना ये दोस्ती को business में बदले. So that's how we started. And about the
Perfect.
social thingy, that is something that I actually used to do before law school. And midway, I had to leave it because I wasn't able to juggle between the two. But I used to teach refugees, and I used to it was an online thing. So a lot of refugees from Turkey, they moved to the UK, and they needed somebody to teach them how to get jobs because their conversational English wasn't all that good. So apart from that, when I was 17, that's when I decided I should maybe try utilize my time after my boards got over. I thought, let me just explore something new for a change. So I was like, how about I get into teaching, use the volunteering time that way.
Okay.
So I used to basically teach at this shelter home, and I used to teach a lot of underprivileged kids. And at that point, I also started a project called Literacy. But obviously, after I got into law school, a year into it, I wasn't able to juggle between the two. So I wasn't able to sustain it for the longer run. But also during pandemic, I did use the time again to teach the refugees that I just mentioned.
Perfect. We are glad to know your journey. Okay, so as our topic is specifically for body shaming, I really would like to understand what was your point of body shaming that you feel that yes, you have gone through from the same.
So basically, it was something that really bothered me when I was a teenager. So when I was a teenager, first of all, I was very popular in school. So the downside was that obviously people knew me, and people also used to talk to me, talk about me. So which is the reason why, I mean, not just behind my back, but people also were really shameless and they used to call me names in front of me. And I feel fat shame is something that people usually talk about most, regarding this topic. But skinny shaming is something that takes a reserved backseat. And I would like to address that because I was skinny shamed so much at that point as a teenager. Every day, like in whether it's school, whether it's outside school, people used to talk a lot, especially about the acids that a girl goes through because you're just hitting puberty. And that is when I think that is a phase when usually teenagers really think about what the opposite gender feels about you. right? And if you're really skinny, you get to hear things like, no, guys like curvy girls, you don't have boobs, you don't have ass, like, and it did bother me at that point. And I would be lying if I say that I did not stuff my bra at that point. And I was like, because it felt like it was the right thing. I was dating someone as a teenager at that point, and um, yet somewhere the validation of your peers become like it was really important at that point is what I feel like. It's
Inferiority complex from others. Is that
I
so?
wouldn't term it as inferiority complex per se, um, but yeah, it was at the developing age, and I think everybody had their own developmental journey and the frequent the time frame basically. And I just felt that maybe I'm not growing, and it's not just your peers. To be very honest, there were a lot of aunties who used to also say nonsense like कि इतने पतले हो तो आगे जाके बच्चा कैसे करोगे?
So
You
I
are
guess
saying that
मेरे
to a
ख्याल से
teenager.
मेरे ख्याल से ये हम सभी फेस करते हैं
Hmm.
कि जो भी हमारे आसपास के लोग हैं वो
Hmm.
सबसे ज्यादा हमें इम्पैक्ट करके चले जाते हैं।
Yes.
आज के ज़माने में ऑनलाइन है, आई एम श्योर ऑनलाइन इम्पैक्ट बहुत ज़्यादा है आज की डेट में। बट जब हम लोग अपने स्कूल में थे या कॉलेज में थे, तो जनरली हमें हमारे घर से, हमारे
Hmm.
पेरेंट्स, हमारे ब्रदर, सिस्टर या फिर इवन और कुछ हो या ना हो, अगर अपने घर वाले कुछ नहीं भी बोलेंगे, रिलेटिव्स आके बोल देंगे
Hmm.
और अदरवाइज़ मे बी द नेबर्स, द आंटीज़, उनको सबसे ज़्यादा चिंता रहती है आई गेस।
Exactly.
दे आर मोर कॉन्शियस कि
Yeah.
हाँ, दे आर लाइक अरे बच्चे कुछ है नहीं आपका, होगा क्या आपका? या फिर जिसका ज़्यादा है तो क्यों ज़्यादा है?
Yeah.
अगर ज़्यादा है बेटा कम करो।
Exactly. I think you cannot get out of it. You're either skinny or you're fat or you're dark or you're ugly. Like they always have some or the other names for you, and I don't think that's very appropriate. And I still remember the names that I used to be called back in the day. Like they used to call me a hanger, they used to call me Haddi Kid Hachi, they used to call me a skeleton, God knows what all. And yeah, they used to call me flat. Oh my god, they used to call me flat so much. And I was so like, to be very honest, I was very insecure about my body at that point. Like I used to avoid wearing tight clothes, and if I'm wearing anything, or if I'm especially if I'm around boys, I used to stuff my bra. And this is not something that a teenager should be doing. Like,
राइट,
ultimately, obviously, you all grow up, like, and then these things don't matter. But at one point, this was like the life issue. Ki, why? Like, you look in the mirror and you don't feel that kind of sexy that a teenager wants to feel like.
आई एग्री। दिस इज़ समथिंग literally impacts your
Hmm.
confidence, self-esteem and also every time you're going to go out वो आपके दिमाग पे आपको हमेशा
Hmm.
इम्पैक्ट करेगा कि
Hmm.
आपने क्या पहना है,
Yeah.
कैसे पहना है, क्यों पहना है, किस तरीके से पहना जाए कि हम किस तरह जहाँ पर
Yeah.
जा रहे हैं,
Hmm.
चाहे वो किसी फंक्शन में जाना हो, बर्थडे पार्टी
Hmm.
में जाना हो या
Yeah.
इवन आपको अगर अपने किसी स्कूल फंक्शन में भी जाना है, तो आपके दिमाग में रहेगा कि सब लोग देखने वाले हैं। तो स्पेशली जो लड़के लड़कियां आपको एक्चुअली कमेंट करते हैं उन्हीं के सामने जाना है, तो उनके सामने अगर आप अच्छा नहीं दिखोगे तो वो
Hmm.
आपके दिमाग पे इम्पैक्ट करता है।
Hmm.
आप ऑलमोस्ट हर वक़्त कॉन्शियस रहते हो इन सब चीज़ों को लेकर।
See, मतलब मेरा तो ऐसा था कि because I've always been pretty extroverted as a person, and like I would say that I've always fairly like been fairly confident as a person. So I wouldn't say that I was bullied per se, but I would also say that a lot of people what they said कि मतलब आ रहा है कि oh, okay. So I wouldn't say कि I'm constantly conscious about it, but yes, at least if I'm going out, I will be like, and plus like we also had girlfriends who always were like, oh, you should buy those padded bras. And I'm like, and it's very uncomfortable to wear those. And bras itself is like, it's very uncomfortable to wear it. And on top of that, as a teenager, first of all, you have just grown up. You're just like, going through the bodily changes. You're just started wearing a bra, and somebody's telling you to, like, asking you to either wear padded bras or stuff itself, like, with the pads and everything. And it's not supposed to be that way.
फॉर श्योर हमारे लिए एक ब्रा पहनना ऑलरेडी कितना मुश्किल है वो हम ही जानते हैं। ओके, सो वाज़ देयर एनी वन इंसिडेंट व्हिच लिटरली इफेक्टेड ऑन योर माइंड?
Yeah, there was this one person who called me a flat bitch in a party sort of a like situation wherein there were a lot of people. So yeah, that thing has actually stayed with me.
ओके, सो इन दैट केस लाइक हाउ डिड यू एक्चुअली हैंडल इट? what step did you thought that it has to be now taken because it's impacting you and your
So at that point, I remember the reaction was obviously to laugh it off because as a teenager, like I did not think on my feet, ki, okay, like I should call him out or whatever. So yeah, but eventually, I think once I became a young adult, things started to change. I started accepting myself more, and to be honest, I can sleep on my stomach. So who's the winner ultimately? So yeah, I wouldn't say that there has been like a pivotal point in my life कि ये incident पे ही एकदम life बदल गया नहीं. It's been a journey and it has unfolded beautifully. I would say that I've started accepting myself more. It's been years, like it's not like it's अभी अभी हुआ है करके. I think after I was 2021, I was pretty much like, okay, I like myself. I like what I see in the mirror. And
did it actually happen with the help of somebody or you have
not at
yourself?
that point, but I think overall there's a lot of insecurity overall that we as a generation are going through in a way. Some will accept it, some wouldn't. And it's not just limited to just like this or this stigmatized things that we are talking about. So I decided to go for inner child therapy. I tried it out in 2022. I tried it out last year as well. And it has been so impactful in so many ways because the reason it is different from traditional therapy of what I know. I mean, I'm just giving my perspective on it. Is that in inner child therapy, you are basically tapping into the roots of where it has come out from. लाइक कहीं तो वॉइड था, कहीं से तो वो निकल के आया है ना. एक नॉर्मल इंसान को पहली बात, nobody thinks of themselves as somebody who's ugly or not accepting themselves.
Right.
It is something that is taught. It is taught by, you can say, capitalism, peers. Maybe the parents have not taught them well, from wherever, social media, whatever. We cannot blame just one cohort of people. But yeah, it does, like we need to get better. So for that, I think you need to accept yourself, and in order to accept yourself, I think we need to fight our demons.
Right, for sure. So was that therapy helpful for you so far?
It was very helpful. So there are a couple of things that in addition to the therapy that I just started doing, like it's been a routine since like a very long time at this point. So when we wake up, वो जो धुंधला हम लोग का जो माइंड होता है, इट्स बेसिकली बिकॉज आवर ब्रेन वेव्स आर इन द थेटा फॉर्म. थेटा फॉर्म का इसका मतलब ये होता है कि जब हम उठते हैं तब हम लोग क्या, कॉन्शियस और सबकॉन्शियस माइंड का बीच का जो वॉल है वो बहुत छोटा है. सो वॉट एवर आई एम इनटेकिंग, वो बोलते हैं ना सोने से पहले और उठने के बाद अच्छे थॉट सोचो, अच्छी चीजें बोलो. सो यूट्यूब पे फ्री में बहुत सारे वीडियोस है. सो देर आर अ लॉट ऑफ वीडियोस आई केम अक्रॉस जहाँ पे somebody is just yapping I love you. ईयरफोन लगाओ, सुनो. A lot of times you can, कुछ नहीं सुनना है तो फिर ठीक है, you can just go in front of the mirror, look at yourself, and if you just practice this one thing every day for a longer duration of time, just wake up, go to the mirror and say I love you. So I think that, I mean, it's like I don't have words to explain how impactful it is.
So was this the part of your therapy that you actually got to know about these things?
There are a lot of things that I learned from therapy. This is not exactly one of them. Like this exercise is not one of them. But yes, the intention is to do the same. Like where I've written letters to myself or basically my childhood self. Like you have to write a letter to baby Sukanya. So and you have to write. And there was actually this one exercise that you write a letter to your younger self with your right hand and then keep it aside, and after a while you take the letter, you read it and you respond to it like a child with your left hand. So there are a lot of exercises that I have tried out, which if I just mention it, people will be like, "क्या बोल रही है? इससे क्या होगा?" But then once you start doing it on, like on a regular basis, you start to see what the change. Like it's very impactful. Like you start to see the change. I think it's more of a compounding effect. आज किया, कल बैठ के सोचे कि यार एक हफ्ते से मैं तो कर रही हूँ, कुछ मुझे तो नहीं लग रहा है. करते जाओ ना.
How long does it took your therapy time, which literally actually got this
It's
change?
ongoing. It's going to go on forever.
No, it's like आप जो अपने आप कर रहे हो, जो आपने सीख लिया है, but जनरली थेरेपी के लिए आप जिनके पास जा रहे हो वो आप ऑलरेडी अभी स्टिल प्रोग्रेस में है?
नहीं, that was for 1 month.
Okay.
1 month basically that was structured. So basically I did a sprint for a month to get a structured way to tackle like the issues that we have all gotten out of our childhood. मतलब हमारे जो आज के patterns है, हर इंसान का जो भी आज के डेट में एज एन अडल्ट जो पैटर्न्स है वो आया चाइल्डहुड से ही है. इट्स जस्ट
Mm-hmm.
अनरिजॉल्व ट्रॉमा. सो उसके बाद लेकिन वंस आई अंडरस्टूड दिस आई ऑल्सो ज्वाइन अनदर प्लेस. सो वो लास्ट ईयर मैंने एक और बार किया था बट इट वॉजेंट लाइक अ 1 month और समथिंग. मतलब इट वॉज जस्ट अ फ्यू सेशंस दैट वर रिगार्डिंग लाइक इनर चाइल्ड थेरेपी इटसेल्फ. बट in addition to these two things, I started doing a lot of things from my end, started researching. जितना घुस तो rabbit hole है, जाते जाओगे.
So, what's that you really feel that you should know to avoid such kind of people?
I
What
don't
needs to
think
be
we
done?
are ever going to escape that because today the world is more digitalized and you can be sitting in India and somebody like of course you have a social media page, somebody sitting in say the UK वो गालियां लिख देगा तुम्हारे इसमें क्या कर लोगे. तो I don't think we can avoid such people, but I think once we start regulating our nervous system the difference इसमें ये आता है कि उतना इफेक्ट नहीं होता है. मतलब तुमको तुरंत अगर आ रहा है तो यू नो कि उसको कैसे ठीक करना है. मतलब यू आर जस्ट आउट ऑफ इट. वो दिल पे लेके बैठे नहीं रहोगे कि अरे मुझे ऐसे बोल दिया, मेरा बॉडी ऐसे लग रहा है. सो आई थिंक इट्स दैट.
So, is your family very supportive for each and everything you have been doing so far, but specifically when you went for the therapy or you have been impacted so much on your mind? Specifically, जब आप child therapy ले रहे हो, so obviously आपके सारी पुरानी चीजें बाहर आई होंगी. Were they actually the part of it?
So, my family's story is sort of like my dad passed away when I was in school. So,
Okay.
which is why whatever things that I had to resolve, they are mainly rooted out of my teenage years, not my childhood. Regarding overall my family, my mother, yes, they are quite supportive. Regarding therapy, the thing is, she doesn't understand the concept of therapy, but she's neutral about it. It's not like she's detesting it, but she's like, okay, like ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है, like sort of. And as long as I'm not having to pay for it, it's okay.
Okay. So you mean to say they are supportive, but they don't understand this language of therapy.
Yeah.
So it's they are just like जो हमारे बच्चे के लिए ठीक है वो खोने दो वैसा वाला.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's that you would like to tell into today's generation, which can boost their confidence and make them strong like you?
I think if we just keep our own selves on the pedestal, बाकी मतलब दुनिया noise है. Whether it's your parents also, whether it's your boss, whether it's whoever, young generation का बोलो तो whether it's a school teacher, whomever, everything else is noise. Keep yourself on the pedestal. तो उसमें कैसा होता है कि कोई भी कुछ negative बोले तो मतलब accept yourself, love and accept yourself. If you are able to do that ना, कोई तुम्हारे इंटरनल मतलब इंटरनल क्लीन है तो फिर आउटसाइड वर्ल्ड तुमको वो इंक्लूड नहीं कर पाएगी.
No. So what happens is I have seen people that they want to love themselves, but still though वो कहीं ना कहीं ऐसे obstacles होते हैं कि वो रुक जाते हैं. They are not able to accept themselves. What can be done for that?
The one thing that I mentioned before this, what happens is that हम लोग का जो patterns है वो सब root होता है subconscious mind से. So which is the reason why I said that if people just do this one thing on a regular basis, तुम्हारा ये एक dominant thought penetrate हो रहा है तुम्हारे subconscious mind में.
So the one you just said that go to the mirror and say I love you.
You can do that. You can also, there are a lot of affirmations on YouTube as well. कुछ भी करो बेसिकली सोने से पहले. और इवन इफ व्हेनेवर यू आर स्लीपिंग सबकॉन्शियस माइंड तभी भी जगा हुआ है. यू कैन प्ले सम लाइक वो स्लीप मेडिटेशन वाले तुम प्ले करके साइड में से वो भी जा रहा है. Basically the point is if your dominant thought is that I am confident, I love myself, I accept myself, तो दुनिया का कोई भी कुछ भी बोले वो तुमको उतना बॉदर नहीं करेगा.
Any message you would like to give to our audience?
Message, I think love and honor yourself, and कोई कुछ भी बोले, you should be the only person who should be on the pedestal.
Thank you so much for coming to our channel, Sukanya. It
Thank
was
you so
really
much for
nice
having
having
me
a word
here.
with you.